Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We are here in one of my favorite filming spot locations because guess what? We have one special performance sedan. This is it. This is a 2023 Audi e-tron GT, but guess what? We got the baddest of the mamma jammas. This is the top RS trim. But before we get into this dual motor performance electrified sedan, let's talk about what's going on here. We all know what's happening. We see in the auto industry the change towards electrification, a lot of new vehicles coming to surface. And what's interesting is that Audi was there near the early adaptation to bring it into their regular auto market. Now, of course, we all know Tesla, and we could sit here and talk about the Model Y and the Model S Plaid and all that mumbo jumbo, but really, Audi being one of those traditional auto manufacturers, not a new startup, really dug deep into their engineering prowess, their technology to create something special. And then, of course, because Audi is part of Volkswagen Auto Group, it also led to another iconic German brand to kind of create something very similar. Who's that? That would be Porsche. So what I want to find out is, if you're looking for a unique performance electrified sedan and you really want to stick to those iconic German nameplates, who do you go with? Do you go with Audi with this e-tron GT RS, or are you going to go with the Porsche Taycan Turbo S? Let's dive in and find out. Right off the bat, the color. New for 2023, it's called a Scary Blue, one of the many spectacular colors in Audi's lineup. Up front, you're gonna get that traditional Audi style, and this is really where you start to see a clear separation between the Taycan and this e-tron GT RS. Love the upgraded laser light technology. Of course, you got your turn signals, your daytime running lamps, and those headlights nestled all the way in the back of the headlight housing. Really gives it, like I said, a unique look, definitely Audi-esque, and you're gonna have some really high blaring light to illuminate the ground in front of you. Working your way down, we do have functional aero, so you have your massive corner air intakes. This one has the carbon fiber package, so they add that beautiful carbon fiber all into the exterior and interior of that vent. And then you are gonna get some gloss black. Now, what I do like is that the gloss black is not as plentiful as on a traditional internal combustion engine Audi. So that's one thing you get when you go with the e-tron GT. Now on the lower portion, you can see these horizontal slots to help channel air for brake cooling, aerodynamics, and then remember we have that liquid cooled lithium ion battery pack that is giving the juice to this e-tron GT. As we come across the front, very, very smart how Audi took their open grille design and really accommodated what you need for an electrified vehicle. So you have your gloss black around the perimeter, top and bottom. This one has the optional gloss black auto union rings, the 4 different German brands that form together. And then instead of having a open mouth grille per se, what they did was they texturized this center Ascari blue painted section to give it a nice little element of style and design to help it fall into their lineup. And then on the lower portion, you can see just how wide and open this lower grille area is for all that air to flow through. Of course, we have a forward-facing camera, and there's that gloss black that comes along the splitter. And really, it's a balance because you want to have a low coefficient of drag because this is an electrified vehicle, but you also need some downforce at the front because wait until you hear about performance numbers and how this thing could rocket through the twisty bits. Now, as we rise up onto that hood area, I love what they did. You have a nice smooth angle and then it plateaus, and that's what's gonna kind of create almost like a bowl shape on the hood, and that's all for aerodynamic efficiency to get that air, get it to stick on the hood, give us the downforce, and then up and over the windshield and roof. Now, as we come around the bend, with this being the GT RS, what are we working with wheel and tire setup. You're going to notice these massive 20-inch wheels, machined aluminum with the aero plates that have been added all the way around. Definitely looks like an Audi wheel when you compare it to something maybe on an R8, a S3, so on and so forth. You'll notice behind the 20-inch wheel, what's even more impressive are those 16.5-inch rotors, massive in size, and we have those bright tangerine orange, massive calipers, carbide equipped to help slow down this e-tron GT as fast as a German Shepherd sheds hair. That's how fast this thing and how intense it could brake. You have different levels of regen braking, and I like the little touches. What are those little touches? You'll notice how we have the RS badge. RS stands for Racing Sport or Rennsport. That's all that great technology over the years from all the racing that Audi does. And when you think about tire size up front, what you're noticing is 265 on the width, and then you have a 45 series sidewall. Of course, adaptive suspension, all four corners. And I'm telling you right now, the sparkle to this Ascari blue sparkles like the Hope Diamond. Absolutely stunning in the sun. Now I'm gonna have Lori kind of swing around. Of course you have your charge port door, but what's even more impressive is that arrow on the side. You have that side fender vent. You could see totally clear through to where you could check the tread level on those 20-inch tires. Really gives it that functionality, but also such a sexy shape. And I love the way it's gonna channel the air down the side of the vehicle towards those flared fenders. Now up top, we do have gloss black on the mirror caps, your LED turn signals, really small. And then up top, you're gonna think that it's just a black painted roof. It's not. You actually have a solid fixed glass panoramic roof. And I like the way they really tinted it nicely to make it look just totally seamless, as if the whole roof is just painted. Now, when it comes to the doors, what I like is that they're frameless. So that gives it a unique look as well when the doors are closed. Down below, look at what they did. Yum carbon fiber, because we got the carbon fiber package all the way along the lower sill. You have that sill extension, and then it all flares into these rear Pirelli tires. Up front, we had those 265s. Out back, we got 285s. So pretty phenomenal to have more rubber to meet the road. The beefy tangerine orange, Florida tangerines, nothing but the best for vitamin C and for braking capability on this vehicle. And then one of my favorite parts is this right here. If I was to wash this car, I would just enjoy this one section. Coming off the rear door into this rear fender, nice flared fender look. Love the way they do the design on the rear taillights. And then coming out back, look what they did. They sunk in the bottom portion of the light housing, full LED, and then it goes all the way across to the other side. We got the RS badge. What does it stand for? Racing Sport, Rennsport. When you see this on an Audi, you know you have the highest level of performance. And speaking of high, this thing could take you higher. How does it do it? You see this portion right here? This actually rises up as a spoiler. So we're talking about, like I said, trying to make it a slippery shape, but also adding parts, active aero, that when you get up to speed, this comes up to give you downforce. Love the way they kept it ultra clean. And then with our carbon fiber package, we got the goodness all the way across this massive rear diffuser that looks like it came off their last Le Mans winning prototype car. But why don't we go ahead, let's see what's underneath that hood. I'm very curious, and talk about the performance of this e-tron GT. Hey guys, we got the hood open. Instead of seeing any type of V8 or 6-cylinder twin turbo or anything like that, what do you get? You get actual storage space. So just like the Porsche Taycan, you do have usable storage large enough for at least one carry-on and a duffel bag. But we're here to talk about performance. What do you have under all of that plastic and at the front and the back of this vehicle? You have two electric motors, one up front, one out back, 637 horsepower, 612 pound-feet of torque. What's cool about the e-tron GT, just like the Taycan, one of the only electrified sedans, period, or electrified vehicles, period, that has a 2-speed transmission. It's got a 93 kilowatt per hour battery, 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds. Quarter mile is gonna go by at 10.9 seconds. It is governed to 156 miles per hour. And if you're wondering, what about range? 232 mile range. That equates to 79 mpges in the city, 82 on the highway. To charge the battery on a DC fast charger from 5% to 80%, you're looking at 23 minutes. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's this thing weigh? 5,171 pounds. So very smart of Audi to do some work with Porsche to make the vehicles have some of those good similarities, but also some of those differences. But why don't we go ahead, let's see what this thing looks like in on throttle mode. Let's check it out. All right, guys, we are inside this Audi e-tron GT RS. How cool is it that this is the first time that we're reviewing an e-tron GT and it's the top RS? That's how we like to do it on Raity's Rise. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I want to spoil myself. I don't want some typical performance sedan. And I know from your Porsche Taycan videos, I really have liked how those perform and how those drive. I'm very curious about this one, but how much is it? So MSRP for the e-tron GT RS, the way you see this option with the carbon fiber goodies, you're looking at a price of $152,000. Now, before you drop your Twinkie and step on it and get cream all over the place, you shouldn't freak out, because that's actually cheaper than what an equivalent Porsche Taycan Turbo S. A Taycan Turbo S, fully loaded, you're looking around well over $200,000, right around $220,000. So take that into consideration. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. I love the traditional Audi style. They've always done interior spot on the money. You have, of course, your soft touch material up top with the stitching. We got the goodness of that carbon fiber within the door panel. And I like the way the door panel has some really cool angles and bends. We got the Alcantara material. Even the way they did the silver door handle area, just, it looks different. It looks futuristic and very, very Audi-esque. No gloss black anywhere that you're gonna touch. You have the stitching on the center section of the armrest. We got the Bang & Olufsen premium sound system, and then surprisingly, you actually have a very large door pocket, big enough for 2 bratwursts with extra sauerkraut, and of course get a can of German root beer in there. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, there's some gloss black, but you know what? Compared to your standard Audis, it doesn't have as much. I like the way they did the texture, almost like on the nose of the vehicle in the center section. Great carbon fiber. And I'm so glad that carbon fiber is just a dry weave carbon fiber, not with the gloss finish over it, because that's gonna cut down on glare. You come on in to the center stack, and this is really the big differentiator between the Audi e-tron and the Taycan, is how they do their infotainment. 10.2-inch screen, you got your Google Maps. I like the way they integrated it very, very cleanly. You hit the home button. Of course, you could get to all your familiar settings. So I do like the way you're able to do that. One thing I do want to showcase, well, actually a couple things, is always we go into vehicle. This is where you could get into your charging. You can see how much charge you have, set your target for each time that you charge. Then we go into Audi Drive Select. You got your different modes. Of course, you know how we're gonna be doing it. We're gonna be doing it dynamic mode. And with the air suspension, we could raise and lower this e-tron GT. Plus, don't forget, we have rear wheel steer, which makes the dynamic mode really come alive. And then when we go back into vehicle, I'm actually gonna hit right here, and this is where you're gonna get your vehicle data. So you can see where your range potential is, shows you a nice graphic, makes focusing on your charge data very simple to kind of calm down and relax your anxiety. And then we're right back to our Google Maps. If you don't want the Google Maps, then you could keep the home side up. Not a big deal. Working your way down, this is where I like where it comes out on top of the Taycan. We have the actual switches and buttons, heated seats, but no ventilated seats. And that's a zonk. At this price point, that's a major zonk, but I do like the way they work the buttons. Easy to read, LED display. You got your traditional AC vents located nice and close. And then we have our other set of toggle switches. Enough space here where you could put almost a full row of Mentos for when you have your bad breath. We got our start stop button with a little bit of red trim. It is a little gloss black heavy, and I am gonna zonk this because it should be the carbon fiber. This should all be carbon fiber. I like the way that they do the actual shifting mechanism for it to go into drive, reverse. Very, very sleek, and it's not that little razor looking thing that Porsche uses. 2 cup holders, and then that Alcantara, we hit this button and we got a nice little storage area with a 12-volt wireless charger for your phone, and you got enough room in there, I would say, for probably 3 Atari game cartridges. Maybe you have track and field, maybe you're lucky enough to have ET. If you have ET, my advice, don't keep it in there, sell it, because they're still going for big money. One of the stupidest games ever made in video game history, one of the hardest games, but also one of the rarest, and that's why it's worth buku money. These seats are nothing but the buku. Love the materials. You got the RS, look at that, looking sexy. Alcantara, the stitch work, the bolstering, full electric assist for the passenger, of course. Full electric assist for the driver, and we have this ginormous glass roof. I'm a little worried though, during the summertime in Florida, I'm already sweating, but that's because we've been working. I'm wondering how much heat radiates into this cabin. But why don't you get your butt over here? I got a flat bottom steering wheel, not with your name on it, with the Audi badge on it. Come on over, I want to show you. Guys, business time behind the wheel. Now I want to show you a little special secret so that when you go to your next Cars and Coffee event in your brand new e-tron GT RS and somebody's like, hey, pop the hood, I want to see what's underneath there. It's not in the traditional location where you would find a button or a hood release. It's actually on the edge of the door. So that's where you're gonna pop the hood. I'm glad to tell you that so that you look like a professional and not like some newbie that doesn't know what the heck is going on. What's also great is you're gonna get 2 memory seat settings. So either if you are crazy enough or dumb enough to let your teenage son or daughter borrow your e-tron GT RS, you could have your memory seat setting saved and they could screw up their setting and not even touch yours. But it's up to you how crazy that you are. Down below, I love the way they continue the carbon fiber RS, and it illuminates LED at night. Pedal box, unquestionably one of the best. Aluminum brake pedal, throttle, large depth pedal, but where the heck is the aluminum? We just spent $152,000 on this vehicle. So that definitely is a zonk. I like the way it's got the seat controls. Power, of course, especially this one. Watch this. Look at that. The hammy extension is gonna nestle your legs just like you nestle a Nestle Crunch bar when you're really hungry on Halloween night. I'm 6 feet tall, and I feel like basically Audi built this vehicle for me because I have everything set up nicely, have plenty of headroom, and it just feels good in here. And I'm not surprised because usually Audi interiors are spot on the money. Now, when it comes to steering wheel, you have race car sexiness. Flat bottom with the Alcantara, the RS badge. Love the way they got the simple but clean horn button. And then you do have toggles on the back of the steering wheel, the paddles, but this is not for any gears. This is for the different levels of regen braking. It is a power tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then you got the virtual cockpit. One of the best in the industry. Look at the way you have all that great information, range, the whole 9 yards that you could scroll through. And then you ready for a little bit of a trick? Alakazam, abracadabra, boom. That's what I'm talking about from Audi. Makes it great to get all that awesome information at the tip of your fingers. There's nothing more that you could do. And you got a head-up display. So they got you covered information-wise. That's a big difference, the way that this is set up in this e-tron GT compared to the Taycan. Let's get into the back seat and see if there's a big difference for your passengers back there. All right, guys, backseat time in the e-tron GT. And yes, it's very similar to the Porsche Taycan, but there's definitely some differences. I like the way the center console does not come all the way through to the center here. Kind of gives some nice space. It is tight though. I mean, there's no doubt about it, but you do have plenty of headroom, and the panoramic roof makes it feel more open and airy back here. Now, the problem is that if you have any cannolis or any kind of Italian treats like that, there's no pockets to put the cannolis in. So you're gonna have to hold them in between your leg, and if your driver takes you through the twisty bits, or God forbid, the Nordschleife, you might squeeze cannoli cream all over this beautiful interior. So you've been warned. Back of the command center, nice large AC vents. We do have AC controls, and still the same thing. Zonk, no ventilated seats at $152,000. Now, before we started filming the back seat, I did get an email from Tom, one of our big fans in Nebraska, and he wanted to see the key fob. So Tom, there you are. There's the Audi RS key fob. Same key fob as other Audi vehicles. Looking good, good size. I'm gonna throw that up there. I feel pretty good back here, to be honest with you. I like the way they got handles so you could crap yourself and hold on while you're going through the twisty bits. And then look at what we got here. We have a nice cup holder. So we're gonna zonk it because it's not an armrest, but we're gonna give it a thumbs up because it is a cup holder, but no actual armrest back here. So my advice is bring your track day pillow with you. And you could put your track day pillow here while your driver is taking you through the twisty bits. But why don't we go ahead, let's see if there's any cargo area in the back of this e-tron GT and see how usable it is. It's time to get into the trunk. What you're gonna do is you just hit that button, lifts right up, so quiet, so smooth. You're gonna be greeted to 12 cubic feet of space. Not a ton, but as you can see, they do give you a nice bag for all the charging accessories, and they actually attach it to the floorboard. You could detach it if you want so that it's not flying all around. You do have these two little nooks, and of course the Nordschleife Twinkie holder. The nooks on both sides easily could put one box of track day Twinkies. And then guess what? You can lift this up and there is some storage underneath. So if you're going above and beyond the Call of Duty when it comes to track Twinkies, you could get the ho-hos, the ding-dongs, cupcakes, all the goodies from Hostess. And they give you this nice welcome package. And what's cool about this, it's the little touches. It's in German because the car is built in Germany. So nice that they have that set up. Close that up, but you know what? Storage is great, but what's even better is how this thing performs. Let's go ahead, let's go on throttle together in this Audi e-tron GT RS. Guys, we are in this 2023 Audi e-tron GT RS dynamic mode. If you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle! Yes! That is so freaking spectacular. The instant torque and power from those two electric motors. And what you're gonna find is that amazing Audi DNA. On the brakes, the balance is superb. The stick is superb. And the feedback to the wheel is just so communicative. Look at this. Nice. Really well done on what they have accomplished with this particular vehicle. Yeah, it does not have that soul, that true soul of an internal combustion engine, but from a driving dynamic, it feels like an Audi. And that's what I like, especially RS Audi, which has all of that Le Mans history, different sports car endurance racing, and they do Formula E now, which makes sense with vehicles like this. The layout of the cabin is so spot on the money. And that's something that even going back to earlier Audis, I always have felt that that's something that they've always done well, is not only the layout of the interiors for the most part, but the fit and finish has always been super top notch. Having the carbon fiber on the dash cuts down on the amount of gloss black, and having the infotainment system so integrated just cleans up the whole interior. Head-up display, virtual cockpit. Visibility out the back, it's like looking out of a mail slot. It's a little tight, but the side mirrors and of course all the safety equipment that you have is gonna make sure that you stay safe no matter what you're doing. A couple of things that I really like that I think they've done so smart with this vehicle is that you are getting some electric sound. And it's nothing obnoxious. It's not meant to sound like a V8 or a V10 out of an Audi R8. It has a distinct sound, not only in the vehicle, but also a little bit outside the vehicle, which is kind of nice. Also, the fact that the driver stays the most important part of the equation. And what I mean by that is that I know some of you might find it to be a little bit zonk worthy to not have major regen braking feel or one pedal operation, but that's what allows the driver to stay where they belong, intact in the whole handling and driving process of this vehicle. But we gotta go on throttle once again. Like I said, 0 to 60 in about 2.8 seconds is freaking impressive. Especially, we're not talking about that we're on like Cup 2 tires or something like that. Are you ready? e-tron GT RS, here we go. On throttle! Really love that sensation. But for me, it's all about the twisty bits, and that's something that this vehicle does surprisingly very well, or maybe not so surprisingly since it is an Audi. Look at this. Nice. Good pedal feel. The pedals really are freaking nicely done. And what's great is that that brake pedal actually has carbon fiber attaching it to the vehicle. I really think that if I was to ever buy a fully electric vehicle, that this would be the one. I mean, I also love the Porsche Taycan, especially the Turbo S, but you can't beat and argue the price difference between this vehicle and the Porsche. Another thing that's spectacular is the rear wheel steering. That helps with the overall handling process of this vehicle and really allowing it to be a true corner carver. But if you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. This thing is a freaking German cruise missile. Look at this. Nice. Another thing is that she just keeps pulling. She does not peter off like some other EVs do. Hard on those brakes. Transition is just phenomenal. Look at this. Nice and flat, doesn't have a bunch of body roll on the brakes. Nice. Fan-freaking-tastic. And then on top of that, you have the Alcantara wrap steering wheel, the carbon fiber, like I said, throughout. Yeah, it's got a little bit of gloss black, but I'm not gonna cry too much about that. And the seats, let's talk about those. They look freaking spectacular. And they hold you in really well. Just enough bolstering where this is gonna be able to be that daily driver for you. Visibility out the front is great. I like the way you got the two peaks on each side of the hood and the fenders. And then looking out the side mirrors, they're nice and large. And you see that sexy flared fender shape that I was telling you about. But the tightest part of this, the big zonk, is the visibility out the back. I mean, it's decent. It's just it's on the tighter side. But other than that, really nice in here. Really enjoying this experience. All right, guys, one more time for you. Definitely one more time for me. If you're ready, I'm ready. On throttle, here we go. Wow, that really, I'm telling you, is the crescendo on an EV, is that instant torque. Here we go, though, my favorite part. The front and the back just communicate so well. Allows you to corner really hard on those massive binders. That's gonna freaking catapult us. Look at this, right out of the corner. The steering is so precise, feels so good. and just a unique driving experience. And it feels Audi RS driving experience. It's not some make-believe setup, which is kind of cool that they were able to create that in this particular vehicle. But hopefully you enjoyed getting charged up with me and going on throttle in this e-tron GT RS. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. I'll see you in a split second. Wow, wow, wow. I tell you, it's hard for me to get fully pumped for on-throttle action in an electrified vehicle, but this Audi e-tron GT RS really brings a lot of that go-go goodness with having those electric motors. But let me know what you think. First of all, we gotta thank everybody at Audi for allowing us access to this press fleet vehicle. Very, very rare car. But let me know what you think in the comment section. For the price, are you liking what Audi has done with the e-tron GT RS? Or are you gonna spend a little bit more and live your life that way that the advertisements say? Porsche, there is no substitute with the Taycan Turbo S. Let me know which way you're gonna go in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. Those that are subscribers, you know how we do it here. Thank you for your support and being on the journey with us. Of course, we gotta give it up to the person behind that camera, working it like a champ, no matter what state we're in the continental United States. Show Lori some love in that comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.